Locked On Texans, your daily Houston Texans podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, to another installment of Locked On Texans, the daily podcast covering your favorite football team in the Houston Texans every single day here on the Locked On Podcast Network. And as always, I'm your host, Cody Davis, along with my partner in crime, John, some sports guy Hickman. And today's episode is brought to you by runyourpool.com. Check them out today, and you will get $10 off at runyourpool.com by using the promo code Locked On.
Welcome in, everybody. Today's episode, we will be joined by Brandon K. Scott. You guys know him. We love him here at the show from 610 Sports Radio here in Houston. So Cody and Brandon will have an opportunity to talk about the game. I wanted to talk about, something that had been on my mind a little bit in regards to Deshaun Watson, the connection that he may possibly have with Davis Mills. And, I'm sitting there wondering how many times throughout press conferences have we heard somebody ask a reporter, hey, what's going on with the Deshaun Watson situation? And as trained to do, as always, Caserio or David Culley will say he's doing everything we're asking of him to do. He's coming up and, we'll reevaluate or whatever. They may throw in a reevaluate, even though we know what it is. By the way, Cody, looks like Philly is warming up to a trade.
I don't think so. The last time I heard anything between Deshaun Watson and the Philadelphia Eagles, apparently that was not one of the destinations that he wanted to go to. Now, that was before the season started. Here we are 4 weeks into the regular season. Unless he wants to go there, at this point, I still think it's crazy that Deshaun Watson, given his off-field issues, still has quote-unquote wants, but I don't believe it until it happens.
Right. But they've been saying for the longest now, he's been doing what we want. He's coming to practice. and I've been thinking about, we know Houston brought in Pep Hamilton to be the quarterback coach, passing game coordinator, and I think he's done a good job hand in hand working with Tim Kelly on getting that quarterback coaching and passing coordinator job down with Tyrod Taylor. And now we are expected to see Davis Mills and what he can do in his second start going against the Buffalo Bills. My thought as of late has been, what if Deshaun Watson's job, right, because you're still paying him, what if his job has been two things? Don't say anything. Keep it quiet like he's done. But if you're going to put us in this situation, can you at least help out Davis Mills on the football field? Okay? And for me personally, on yesterday, you guys had an opportunity to sit and talk with some of the players, and Davis Mills mentioned how the game has slowed down a little bit for him. That's a good thing to hear out of your rookie quarterback, considering the circumstances that he stepped into, right? He's just in a worse situation as David Culley is. Because this is not ideal. This is not coming of a place of immediate reset because you've just been bad. This is coming from, the star quarterback now wants out. And then on top of it, everything that comes along with it. But has Deshaun Watson been playing that role of mentor for Davis Mills, getting him ready for the moment? And this is why I'm okay with saying I believe that's yes. That's a yes and an answer. On multiple occasions, Tyrod, Mills, other players, they have mentioned how Deshaun Watson, despite everything, has been a helpful hand to this team, Cody. And you've been around this team since July, right? Like physically around. Of course, you've been around them a little bit longer, but then they kind of kicked the Zoom and allow reporters to come back and be around the facilities, which is something great. That's what the media needs, a visual of what you want to talk about and write about, not just going off hearsay, say. So you've seen it firsthand. How much has Deshaun been helpful to that young quarterback, Davis Mills? And am I wrong for believing that his job right now, as of what he's getting paid $10.5 million to do, am I wrong by saying Deshaun Watson's duty is to help that man get ready for the future and for the now?
To be honest with you, John, the listeners know you are not wrong. And look, this whole Deshaun Watson situation has been, of course, crazy. But there's one thing that the Houston Texans have been consistent in, and there's one thing that we have actually we have had the opportunity to see, and that's Deshaun Watson coming in every single day. We don't see him every day, but we know that he's there. Plus, there has been times, as last week, as a matter of fact, we know Deshaun Watson was in the building because we actually saw him getting some work, getting some exercises and working out on the opposite side of the practice field. But there were moments where we saw with our own times, mainly throughout training camp, when Deshaun Watson was out there on the field with his quote unquote teammates, he was being an open book. I remember during the training camp period, I actually had an opportunity to ask Tim Kelly, how much of a help has Deshaun Watson been to the quarterback room? Because even though he is not playing, you are still the offensive coordinator, which means that a lot of the stuff that you are implementing to Tyrod Taylor, Jeff Driscoll, Davis Mills, Deshaun already has experience in. And I remember the question that he told me was, he has been an open book to the quarterback room, and he said especially to Davis Mills. And that wasn't just talk, because I remember throughout training camp, there was moments where Davis Mills had one of them days. It's like, oh my God, what did the Houston Texans get themselves into, throwing like 4 or 5 interceptions? And when Davis went to the sideline, Deshaun Watson pulled him to the side, and you could see him actually giving pointers, pointing out, how to look at read, how to look at coverages, and just actually showing him how to improve his chances of being a successful quarterback in this league. Plus, Deshaun Watson, from what we have been told, has been doing everything with this team except for, of course, practicing and going through game day routines, which means Deshaun Watson is in the meetings, which means I'm pretty sure he has saw things throughout film review that he is actually giving pointers to Davis Mills. So you're not wrong if you want to believe that, because at the end of the day, like you said, they are paying him for something.
Something. Exactly. I'm not giving you 10.5, and I love you, Cody. I love a lot of people. I'm not giving nobody $10.5 million, and I'm not getting anything in return.
It's almost similar, and I kind of hate it's almost similar to, and I kind of hate to bring this up, but it is similar to a certain extent, the John Wall situation that we got going on with the Houston Rockets. He's another guy who doesn't want to play with this team. He also wants out of Houston, but he's going to remain around the team. He's going to remain on the sideline and be a part of the coaching staff to help the young guys like Jalen Green and Kevin Porter Jr. And by the way, please go check out our guy, Jackson Gatlin, over at Locked On Rockets to learn more about that situation. But it's almost similar to what we are seeing the Rockets do. And they are paying him, I believe, like 30 to 40 million this upcoming season. So he's going to have a little bit more of a voice with the Rockets than what Deshaun Watson do. But at the end of the day, to bring this back around to Deshaun Watson, he has some type of voice in that locker room.
Not only does he have a voice, and that's been documented, well documented. You have players who, in the midst of what's going on with Deshaun legally, they've still spoken in favor of him. And do we think Deshaun is a bad guy or he's made bad decisions? That's up to you, whatever you want to believe the perception is. However, we have seen Deshaun do some great things off the field. And we remember his rookie game check, gave that to the staff, right? He's done things before. It's okay, hey, this guy may be somewhat of a decent person. And I think right now the decency of him is showing Davis Mills how to prepare for Sundays and Thursdays, and initially sometimes Mondays and Saturdays, whatever. But Deshaun's experience in that locker room, in that film room, and playing in the NFL at a high level, and playing in college at a high level. Because remember, we can kind of take this back a little bit to maybe some of the simple things that Davis Mills didn't have the opportunity to get in college because he was unavailable. So Deshaun may be helping him out every step of the way in film room. I think that's the biggest thing Deshaun could do for this franchise right now. Say, hey, my bridge has kind of been burnt for you guys. The relationship is strained to the point where there is no return. However, you do gotta. It's like you get another baby. Hey, I'm out the house now, mama. I'm gone. We had our issues, but that new baby boy that's coming into this world, let me help him get ready in the eyes of what I see on the field every day, not in the eyes of what you see as a coach on the sidelines, in the press box. Like at the end of the day, I still got to read these blitz. I still got to read what's cover 2, cover 3, man, or whatever it's going to be. And I think that's what Deshaun Watson has been doing for Davis Mills. And if that's the case, then I do believe that, go ahead and give him credit where credit is due, whether you want to do it or not, because his ass should be on the field, but he's not. He's still helping out the Houston Texans in one way or another. Hey, Houston sports fans, Texans, Rockets, baseball, Astros, and we getting ready for the playoffs soon. That means you got to go drive down to the Minute Maid Stadium. In the midst of that, you might need to buy gas, and here's why I come in with an incredible app everyone who buys gas needs to know about. Get Upside. My listeners are making up to 25 cents for every gallon of gas every time they fill up. Just download the free Get Upside app in the App Store or Google Play right now. Use promo code touchdown for NFL or baseball for MLB and get a bonus 25 cents per gallon on your first fill up. That's up to 50 cents cash back. Don't pay full price at the pump anymore. Get cash back using Get Upside. Just download the app for free or use promo code touchdown for NFL or baseball for MLB to get $50 per gallon cash back on your first tank.
All righty, Houston Texans fans, we are back to the Friday installment of Locked On Texans, which means we have our guy, our brother, Mr. Brandon K. Scott from Sports Radio 610. And I want to throw this in, and yes, I understand it's only temporary, the star of Sports Radio 610 in the loop. What's going on, Brandon?
Man, I'm telling y'all, look, make sure, listener, that you find somebody in your life that will big you up and that will prop you up the way my man Cody Davis just did for me just now. Hey man, everything is good, everything is lovely, man. I'm enjoying the little bit of airtime that I'm able to get on In the Loop and the Sports Radio 610, whenever I'm able to get that opportunity. More than that, man, I'm just happy for the opportunity to cover the teams, cover the local teams, and obviously the Texans most importantly. I'm not really looking forward to this matchup this weekend because it's not a lot of hope. Not a lot of optimism, not a lot of ways I can see the Texans winning this game, even though they've surprised me already and surprised me at other points throughout the season. But I am interested to watch one Davis Mills.
Yes, sir, and I'm glad that you started talking about Davis Mills because, of course, we got to start your Friday Texans talk with what did you see from Davis Mills in the game against the Carolina Panthers?
Yeah, so the best thing that I can say about Davis Mills is that it wasn't terrible. There was nothing, there's nothing that you could say from watching Davis Mills against the Panthers that would make you alarmed or feel like this guy can't play, he doesn't belong here, or that he's a waste of time, which is something that I think I've suggested maybe unfairly and incorrectly over time, was that, what are we really doing here? What's the point of this whole Davis Mills experiment? What are we doing? And I think what he showed you against Carolina is that there is something there. There is something to work with at the very least. Maybe he's not the future. Maybe he's not a franchise quarterback. Maybe there is a long way to go. I think definitely you could say that there's a long way to go before he's anything close to a finished product. But he wasn't overwhelmed. He was able to get him. I mean, look, we're talking about elementary stuff like getting in and out of the huddle, getting plays off on time, not turning the ball over, which I think was actually a big thing. Maybe the most positive thing that you could say about him was that he didn't turn the ball over. And when it was opened up a little bit, when they sped things up a little bit, he was able to help them engineer a touchdown drive. So there were a lot of things to be positive about, a lot of things to be encouraged about. And there was not one thing or any particular thing that was glaring that made you be super concerned. I think the worst thing that you would say is that you didn't see a lot there, and there was nothing there to suggest that this is a guy who's going to be like a difference maker. This is somebody that's going to go win you a game. But to be fair, there's probably too much to be asking of Davis Mills at this point anyway.
Brandon, you just finished talking about, what is being asked of Davis Mills. And I do want to ask you this question because I am under the belief that Davis Mills, it's kind of hard to evaluate him because the Houston Texans was a little bit conservative in their play call. And I do believe if they did go out there and call the game, maybe not as if Tyrod Taylor was in the game, but if they would have just went out there and just let him run the offense a little bit more, the game probably would have been a little bit closer because there was some promise that I saw from Davis Mills. Do you think David Culley and the Houston Texans did Davis Mills a disservice by not letting him go out there and run the offense?
I mean, I think more than anything, a lack of talent and being unhealthy and having so many guys out hurt Davis Mills more than anything, and an inability to run the football. Like I think that's really the most glaring thing about this team right now is that it's tried to rely on and put its identity into being a run team, a run first team, or at least to have some type of power run game, and it's just not there. It hasn't been there so far in these first 3 games of the season. And you figure that something like that would have benefited any offense and any quarterback, but especially somebody like Davis Mills coming in with his first start. I mean, you go in there, it's your first start. You're playing against the defense that's the hottest defense in the league at the time, and you can't even so much as really run the ball. You can't even get that done. And I feel like the easiest thing for him to have been able to do would be to be able to run, to hand the ball off to Mark Ingram or to Philip Lindsay or to David Johnson, and to have the pressure taken off of him in that way. And so I actually understand why they would want to ease him into it or why they would be cautious. I mean, Cody, you were right there with me. We watched this guy in training camp and in preseason and in times where it
Yes, sir.
wasn't like he necessarily looked overwhelmed, but he would do things. He would take some chances or not see some things. Um, Lock in on his first read. There were certain things that would happen, make you think, okay, maybe it's not quite there yet. Maybe he's not ready. And so I think that the game rep and the flow of the game helped a lot with like where he was in terms of nerves and readiness to play. I think you saw it open up a little bit on that 2-minute drive when they were able to score. And to me, it would have been better if they could have done more of that after the fact. If they could have shown more faith in Davis Mills or taken more chances, taking more risks after that last touchdown drive of the first half, as opposed to just how they opened the game. I was fine with how they opened the game, but when you look at that third quarter decision or that decision in the third quarter to not go for it on fourth down or kick the field goal, I mean, you got to be aggressive in one way or the other, right? Either you're going for it on 4th and 4, and you put the ball in your playmaker's hands, you trust Davis Mills to make a good decision with the football, or on the other end, you get risky and you take the field goal. Just the very next drive, either the very next drive or the drive after that, Joyce Lott goes out there and kicks a 53, just a field goal that was only like a couple of yards less than what that one would have been. And my guy John Harris is watching it right there from the goalpost and saying that thing would have been good from 70. So I mean, you think about just all the ways in which they could have done anything other than not show faith in the offense. If there's anything I'm disappointed about with the coaching staff is that when there were times to show faith in the offense or to be aggressive in some moments, they decided not to. And so that's my only thing. I like how they eased him in, but opened up a little bit after he shows you a few things.
Wait. Here we are, 3 games into the regular season. The Houston Texans are sitting at 1-2. Wait,
You want to say 1-3 so bad.
I know, right?
you have already given up. You want to say 1-3 so bad.
Yeah, I know, because we already know the outcome of that game. That is why. But here we are. But here we are, 3 games into the regular season. The Houston Texans are sitting at 1-2. It could be a position group, it could be a player, it could be someone on the coaching staff. But is there anyone you have been a little bit disappointed in their performance so far to start off this season?
I mean, the first name that comes to mind for me is Philip Lindsay, and that's only because of the expectation. I thought because he was the youngest and most recently productive running back, I sort of took it for granted that was the guy that was coming in to be the starting running back, to be the feature back, and that you would go from there, that Mark Ingram and David Johnson would serve as more of a supporting cast to Philip Lindsay, and I couldn't have been any more wrong about that. That's not at all what his function has been. He's more of a kind of a plug and play guy, and honestly, just hasn't really been all of that productive outside of he has scored a couple of touchdowns, the one against Jacksonville, the really cool play design against the Browns in week 2, and he shows some vision and an obvious ability to just follow his blocks and get down the field and make that happen. But other than that, you just really haven't really seen a lot from him and the running back group in general. I mean, if we're gonna talk about it, we can just use that group as a whole. Let's just take the running backs and the offensive line as a whole, and just the way that they've not been able to run the ball. If there's anything about the Texans that I don't really want to hear anymore, is about how their identity is supposed to be relied upon and supposed to be contingent on running the ball. That's not who you are. So I've been disappointed there. Andre Roberts is one who you think was brought in to be, you're talking about a Pro Bowl return specialist, somebody who all his function is on the team is to be a return specialist. He does not bring you anything as a wide receiver, and I think that's understood, and you accept that as long as you're getting positive plays and something positive out of him in the return game, and you just have not gotten that. He turned the ball over, and I thought that was a key momentum swing in the game against Cleveland. He muffed a putt against Carolina that did not cost him anything, but I mean, you don't ignore in victory what you would in defeat, right? Like, so let's say that did cost him a possession, you would be ripping him for it. So I have been disappointed to see that Andre Roberts has not been the reliable specialist they said he would be early on. That's not to say he won't get right. Just so far, it just has not panned out. And then on the defensive side of the ball, I think you got to look at Zach Cunningham as a guy who, while he's still a high performer, while he's still out here getting tackles. I mean, that's what a linebacker does, right? Lead the team in tackles. I'm like, well, he's a linebacker. He should be tackling. That's literally what job is. There's a little bit more to it, especially when you look at a guy like Zach Cunningham with the physical tools that he has, the athleticism that he has. You figure he should be a lot better in coverage than he is, and he's just not. And I don't know if it's awareness or lack of focus or lack of commitment to improving in that area. I mean, I honestly couldn't tell you. But when you take everything into context, the fact that he had to sit out a quarter of a game, this is one of the highest paid players on your team, one of the few foundational pieces that you would consider a foundational piece on your team, and you had to sit him out for a quarter, and he still has not shown really any progress in pass coverage. I mean, it's really disappointing. So if I had to point to a few, I would say, Andre Roberts, Zach Cunningham, and then just the overall inability to run the football.
Celebrate the freedom of choice. Did you know Built Bar has so many delicious flavors? There's something for everyone, okay? You got flavors like cherry. You got flavors like raspberry, mint brownie, double chocolate, salted caramel, and I just bought a package of that myself. And the best part about it is, if you haven't tried all the flavors or you want to kind of pick through and see which one is your favorite, go ahead and get that mixed box where you'll get 2 of each of 9 flavors. Not only are Built Bar flavors the best tasting, but they're healthy too. 7 to 18 grams of protein, only 4 to 5 grams of sugar, and only 4 to 5 grams of net carbs. Amazing flavor, all tasty, all healthy. Order today and get that raspberry, that peanut butter brownie, or whatever you like. Built Bar is also the official protein bar for the U.S. track and field team. Go to Built.com, use promo code Locked On, and you'll get 15% off your order. Use promo code Locked On at BuiltBar.com for 15% off. Betting on the NFL doesn't have to be a guessing game if you listen to the new Locked On Bets podcast, hosted by your boy Q and handicapping expert Lee Sterling. Get daily picks, blowout specials, wrong team favorite picks, and Lee Sterling's lock of the day. Follow the Locked On Bets podcast, hosted and brought to you by BetOnline.ag, wherever you get podcasts.
Welcome back in, ladies and gentlemen, to this Friday installment of Locked On Texans. You know what it is. We have our guy, Mr. Brandon K. Scott from Sports Radio 610. Brandon, you heard me stutter. You heard me stumble over the record. They 1-2, but I'm already saying they're 1-3, man, because I think this might be the one game this season that we know not only they're going to lose, but they might get demolished. Because I'm looking at this game, the Buffalo Bills. I've been saying it all week. They have averaged 39 points, has recorded over 700 yards, close to 800 total yards. And that was against the Miami Dolphins and the Washington football team. And this is the Houston Texans. Brandon, do you believe there is any chance the Houston Texans can go into Buffalo and get a win? I don't think it's possible.
I'm talking about a zero chance. I'm giving them a zero chance, man. And look, I'd love to be wrong about this one.
You and me both, man.
I was wrong.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but if they win this game on Sunday, you talking about this will be a season-changing victory for this organization.
I don't know about season changing, but I'm rushing the field all the way from Houston. I'm not even traveling to Buffalo, and I'm rushing the field if they win this game, man. That's how wild it's going to be. But I just don't see a scenario, man, just from top to bottom. There is not a single matchup. Okay, so we don't even have to break down all the matchups. We can just say right here, right now, there is not a single matchup in which I like the Texans over the Bills. So if you're talking offensively, do I like them to be able to run the ball against the Bills? No. Do I like them to be able to really pass it, even though I would like to see them open it up? And let's see what Davis Mills can do. Let's see how they can move the ball down the field. Do I think they're going to be able to pass the ball very well with this very good Bills defensive line, Tre'Davious White as their number one corner? They're really good at safety. The answer is no. So there's the offense. There's the offense. And then defensively, man, I don't know what they're going to do with Josh Allen. I don't know what Allen we're going to get. I'll say this, Cody. Their best chance at winning, if the Texans are going to win this game, here's how they're going to do it. Josh Allen is going to be the Josh Allen that he was in week 1 against Pittsburgh. Or God forbid for their end, the Josh Allen that he was when they played here in Houston in that playoff game about 2 years ago now.
One of my favorite games of all time, by the way.
Hey, look, if they get that Josh Allen, then the Texans might have a shot at it. They might have a small shot at it. But if they get the Josh Allen that played last season, that was an MVP caliber player, and if they get the Josh Allen that's played the last couple of weeks, especially the last couple of weeks, then I don't see how this defense is supposed to be able to keep up with Buffalo. So, man, should I even pick a score? Like I've been picking scores of this game. I'm afraid to on this one because I got the Buffalo Bills on a blowout on this one.
Yeah, man. And I'm glad that you started talking about Josh Allen because I think a lot of people are a little bit conflicted on how to feel about Josh Allen because I do believe he is one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league. I think it's debatable if you want to put him in top 5. I don't think he's top 5, but I think he's on the back half of the top 10. But
he's top 5 talent. I would say like physically, the things that he brings to the table, like the only thing that's keeping him out of the top 5 is himself. His own decision making and things like that, which he's really gotten better at since last year. So I mean, that's the only thing. I mean, physically, he's right there with. I mean, I would put him right there with a Mahomes and a Rodgers in terms of what they can do physically with the football. He's bigger than those guys. It's almost like what if Patrick Mahomes was, and I'm not saying he's good as Patrick Mahomes. It's like what if Patrick Mahomes was Cam Newton's size? That type of thing. Like it's that type of scary thing that's going on with Josh Allen. I didn't mean to cut you off, but
oh no, you good. And I think that's what a debate from where how good is Josh Allen and how does he compare to the real premier quarterbacks in this league. But you mentioned something that I want to touch on really quick. When you take a look at Josh Allen, do you truly believe that he is that talent quarterback that can go out there and make any team better? Or do you think it's because over the last 2 seasons, the Buffalo Bills has done a great job going out there getting Stephon Diggs, going out there bringing in Cole Beasley, actually building a team around him? And yes, I understand every quarterback need a team, and I kind of hate to use this for an example, but you take a look at Deshaun Watson. I mean, this is a guy who lost DeAndre Hopkins and actually ended up being even better without him.
Yeah, so and I want to be clear too about that because that was a debate even before the season started after the DeAndre Hopkins trade. I don't buy into excuse me, I don't buy into the idea that because he lost DeAndre Hopkins suddenly he became better. I think what really happened with Deshaun Watson is that the play calling got a lot better once the play caller who was there before was no longer there. And even though the new play caller was molded in the same image as the previous one, I think that there was more of a collaborative aspect to what Tim Kelly brought to the table as opposed to Bill O'Brien. So just there. Now, as far as Josh Allen and the talent, I just think that matters a lot. It matters so much who is around you. You said it, that every
Oh yeah,
quarterback
most
in the
definitely.
team, like if you don't have nothing around you, like why is Matthew Stafford who Matthew Stafford is? I know that a lot of people he's polarizing. A lot of people don't believe in Matthew Stafford, but I do think it's interesting if you think about what if Aaron Rodgers goes to the Detroit Lions and Matthew Stafford is with the Green Bay Packers. How much different? I'm not saying that you swap the guy that's the exact same career, but it is an interesting thought exercise to think about how much differently do they look if that's the situation. And so Josh Allen, I think, is a little mixture of both. That he truly is one of those top end talents. Like you look back at Josh Allen in college, and that there is no real significant college achievement where you look at it and say, "Hey, he did this at Wyoming or where he comes from," and you say, "Hey, that's that guy." It's all physical. It's all potential. What you see with Josh Allen, and he's realizing it now, and it helps when you bring along a Stephon Diggs, a Cole Beasley. You fill out the roster. You got a defense to support him. Strong leadership with your head coach and your defensive coordinator, your offensive coordinator in Brian Daboll, and your defensive coordinator in Leslie Frazier. Like you got real good leadership plus good pieces around him. And so when you take a talent like that and couple it with everything that we mentioned, I mean, it seems like it would be hard for that to fail. So all of that matters. And when you take it in its totality, yeah, he is a clearly one of the better players in the NFL right now.
But I will give him credit for this is a guy who got better with time. All he needed was time because rookie Josh Allen, we would have never thought that we would be putting him in the top 5, arguably, top 3. I saw some people that had him in the top 3. I don't think he's that high, but I've never would have imagined when you take a look at Josh Allen's rookie season, I never would have imagined we'd be talking about this version of him. But Brandon, really quick before we get up out of here, you got to give me a prediction. You have to give me a score. What do you think we're going to be looking at by the end, let's say about 3:00 Sunday afternoon when it's all said and done?
This is going to be an optimistic take. I'm going to go ahead and go 34-17. 34-17 Bills. Now, I will say this. I just learned not too long before you and I got on that the weather could be an issue in Buffalo, and I did not see that coming. I had not been paying attention to that or realizing that could be a problem, but it might rain out there. So,
man.
So I'm gonna break the rules a little bit. If it doesn't rain, let's go 34-17. If it does rain, I'll go 21-7. But either way, it's gonna be the Texans losing in Buffalo. The Bills will win this game.
And there you have it, Mr. Brandon K. Scott from Sports Radio 610. Ladies and gentlemen, we are sorry for all the background noise we had. I was set up today. You love technology, but when it's not working with you, it's not working with you. When me and Brandon tried to record earlier, it just wasn't working with us. So my boy Brandon had to go across the street to Starbucks and do this interview. But Brandon, really quick. Oh, go ahead.
I just want to shout out Starbucks for being such a good host, and all the background around me. I hope it's added some character to the show.
Oh, yeah.
And who among us at this point in life has not worked out of a Starbucks? So
especially in that profession.
Exactly. So I feel like this very moment makes the show all the more relatable.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Brandon, really quick, where can our listeners follow you at on social media?
Yeah, man, I'm still at Brandon K. Scott on Twitter. Make sure you follow me for all things Texans and really any Houston sports that you might be interested even beyond that. And the B Block podcast, make sure you subscribe to that on Apple, on Google, on Spotify. And make sure you check out Sports Radio 610. Somewhere around the time with this dropping on Friday, maybe you can fit listening to this episode, hopefully somewhere around 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. Either listen to it before 10 a.m. or listen to it after 2 p.m. or listen to it during the commercial breaks while you listening to me on Sports Radio 610. But I'll be on In the Loop on Friday as well. So yeah, man, we doing it big around here.
Yes, sir. And as always, I'm your host, Cody Davis. Please remember to follow me on Twitter at Cody Davis _24. Once again, that's Cody COTY DAVIS _24. And of course, my co-host, my partner in crime, Mr. Johnson Sports Guy Hickman. Please be sure to follow him on Twitter at Some Sports Guy. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, peace.